الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على إمام الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. Living brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to this and of our sittings. It was requested we are going to do how to be sincere to the Holy Quran, because I am explaining the sincerity series the way the Prophet said it. Lillahi wa li kitabi wa li rasuli. So the kitab came second and the rasul came third. Wa li a'immatil muslimin, the leaders of the Muslims, wa a'immatihim. So I'm explaining the sincerity series the way the Prophet said it in the hadith. When the Prophet said religion is sincerity, they said, to whom should we be sincere? He said, Lillahi, to Allah. Wali kitabi, to his kitab, his book. Wali rasuli, and to his rasul. Wali a'immatil muslimin, the leaders of their common folks, wa a'immatihim, and the layman, the rank and file of the Muslims. The layman means the rank and file. In order for you to be sincere to the Holy Quran, the following 14 conditions have to be met. If one condition is missing, you are not being sincere to the Holy Quran. The first condition for you to be sincere to is that you need to believe the Quran is Kalamullah. The first condition, you need to believe that the Quran is Kalamullah, the speech of Allah, and not created. It is not our creed that the Quran was created. The four great Imams used to make takfir on those who say the Quran was created. Okay, let us begin with Imam Shafi. Bring me the fatwa of Imam Shafi. What did Imam Shafi say about the man? Imam Shafi, okay, this is the first fatwa coming from Imam Shafi. Imam Shafi, rahimahullah, said, whoever says that the Quran is created is a kafir. Masail Abu Dawood, classified as Sahih. Okay, what did Ahmad ibn Hanbal say? Bring me the fatwa of Ahmad ibn Hanbal, who said the Quran was created. Ahmad ibn Hanbal made takfir as well. Ahmad ibn Hanbal said, whoever says the Quran is created is a kafir. Do not say salam to him, neither pray behind him, nor sit with him. Masail ibn Hani. Okay, give me the fatwa of Abu Yusuf. Abu Yusuf said, I debated with my teacher, Abu Hanifa, for 6 months until I was created as a kafir. From Ali ibn al-Hasan al-Qura'i, who said, Abu Yusuf said, I debated Abu Hanifa for 6 months. And then our views became united that the one who said the Quran is created as a kafir. Al-Dhahabi brings with a good chain of narration, as occurs in Mukhtasar al-Ulu. Mukhtasar al-Ulu is a book written by a synopsis, a summary, a synopsis. Ulu means Allah Ta'ala is over the Arsh. The word Ulu means Allah is over the Arsh. So this is the first condition you need to believe the Quran was revealed. The Quran is Kalamullah, the speech of Allah, and not created. Sincere to the Quran, 14 conditions have to be met. The second condition is you have to believe the Quran is free from corruption, because Allah promised to protect the Quran in Surah 15 verse 9. نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Verily, we have revealed it and we are protecting it from corruption. So this is the second condition, to believe that the Quran is free from corruption. For you to say the Quran is corrupted like the Shiites claim, then you are accusing Allah of breaking His promise to protect the Holy Quran. That's the Aqidah of the Shiites, the 12ers. You are accusing the Quran. Surah Fussilat, Surah 41, verse 42. What did Allah say about the Quran in Surah Fussilat? Surah 41, verse 42. لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه تنزيل من حكيم حميد. Before it or behind it. It is sent down by the one who is the all-wise, the worthy of all praise. The other condition to be sincere to the Holy Quran on its meaning. So when you read the Quran, you should contemplate on its meaning. Because Allah said in Surah Muhammad, Surah 47, verse 24, Barun al-Quran am ala qulubin akfaluha. Won't you contemplate on the Quran, or your hearts are sealed, your hearts are wrapped. And whenever the heart of a person is sealed, hypocrisy will not come out and Iman will never enter. Kufr and hypocrisy will not come out of his heart. The fourth condition did not contradict Quran. Quran did not contradict Quran. So Allah said in Surah Nisa, verse 82, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. Contemplate on the Quran had it been from someone else. Indeed, you would have found in it many discrepancies, many contradictions, many things. So it is impossible for you to find two ayahs that contradict each other. That's not possible. The kuffar, they establish websites to prove that the Quran contradicts the Quran because they want to lead astray young, impressionable Muslims who are weak in Iman. If you have a 16-year-old girl and a woman who is 36, the woman who is 36, her Iman will be stronger than the girl who is 16. I'm sure about that. The person who is firm in their Iman becomes the stronger she is on her faith. Kuffar establish websites to prove that the Quran contradicts the Quran. You are not allowed to visit these sites. A scholar can visit the site to refute them. Only scholars are allowed to visit those sites to refute them. But not a young, impressionable Muslim who is weak in Iman. You are not allowed to visit these sites. And whenever a kafir comes to you and say the Quran contradicts the Quran, say to them, go and debate with a scholar of Islam. Go and debate with a scholar of Islam if you think the Quran contradicts the Quran. Whenever a hypocrite or a kafir comes to you with a topic and they want to debate with you, for example, Allah rose over the throne, say to him, go and debate a scholar. I will bring a scholar and you bring your scholar and debate a showdown, and I will be the spectator. Don't try to debate with a person if you are not firmly grounded in knowledge. Where did Allah say Muhammad is Bashar? You can't tell me. You can't tell me. Surah 18, the cave, the very last ayah. That's the Hujjah. Surah 18, the very last ayah. A simple thing like that. Where did Allah say in the Quran Muhammad is Bashar, a human being? Many people can't tell me where it's found in the Quran. So not until you are firmly grounded in knowledge of the Quran, you should not embark on a debate. Because sometimes you debate with a person and you try to ring me on my cell phone for me to remind you of a Quranic verse. I was saying, to be sincere to the Quran, you need to believe it is Kalamullah, the speech of Allah. Not created. You are free from corruption. Number 3, you need to contemplate on its meaning. Number 4, you need to believe the Quran did not check. The Quran did not contradict Quran. The other condition is, number 5, to implement the Quran on the individual level. So when Aisha was asked about the character of Muhammad, she said, Kana khuluquhu al-Quran. He, Muhammad, was the walking Quran. Kana khuluquhu al-Quran. He, Muhammad, was the walking Quran. So you need to implement the Quran on the individual level. Now, one of the characteristic of a believer, the 5th condition is to implement the Holy Quran on the individual level. Because when Aisha was asked about the character of Muhammad, she said, Kana khuluquhu al-Quran. He, Muhammad, was a walking Quran. And the Prophet ﷺ, Allah commented on his character. Allah said in Surah 68 verse 4, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. And you, Muhammad, you are at the peak of a sublime character. You are the peak of a good character. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. And you, Muhammad, you are at the peak of a sublime character, a noble character. Surah 68, verse 4. And Allah Ta'ala said in Surah 62, verse 2, هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة. يزكيهم means Muhammad was sent to purify mankind from an evil character. He it is that sent among the unlettered ones a Rasul, a messenger from among themselves, reciting to them the book, his ayahs, and yuzakkihim. Yuzakkihim means purifying them from an evil character. The Rasul said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمْ مَكَارِمْ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I was sent for no other reason except to give you good character, good morals. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمْ مَكَارِمْ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I was sent for no other reason except to give you good morals. You have some people, they are very evil in character ever since they were children because their parents did not give them any tarbiyah. Tarbiyah means Islamic orientation, Islamic upbringing. They even enter the bedroom door of people without knocking. They enter the bedrooms of people without knocking. I'm talking kids. Because their parents did not teach them good manners. They butt into the conversations of adults because their parents did not bring them up properly with Islamic tarbiyah. The Holy Prophet said that the best gift a father can give to his child is good character. The best gift that the father can give to his child is good manners. On the authority of his father, who from his grandfather, that Allah's Messenger said, no father gave a better gift to his son than teaching him good manners. This is the best gift that you can give to your child. The Holy Prophet said that the heaviest thing on the scales on Judgment Day is good character. So all these hadiths that I'm bringing to you proves to you that to be sincere to the Quran, you need to implement it on the individual level. You have to become the walking Quran the way he, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was the walking Quran. Allah said in Surah 36 verse 70, you'll find in the character of Muhammad the best character for anyone who wishes to meet Allah and be successful on the day of judgment. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرَ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. In the character of Muhammad, you'll find the best example. For anyone who wishes to meet Allah Ta'ala and be successful on the day of judgment. Surah 33, I hope I give you the right quotation. Surah 33 verse 20. Surah 33 verse 21, where Allah spoke about the character of Muhammad. Surah 33 verse 21. Allah Ta'ala said, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرَ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. Verily you'll find in the character of Muhammad the most excellent example for anyone who hopes to meet Allah and the last day and remember Allah abundantly. So all these Quranic verses and all these ahadith that I am quoting to you is clear evidence that the fifth condition to be sincere to the Holy Quran is that you should implement the Quran on the individual level and become the walking Quran. The sixth condition to be sincere to the Quran. Now, divorce is rife among the Muslims. The reason is rife among the Muslims and their divorce is on the same level of the kuffar. I'm talking the Muslims in the West. The kuffar, the Muslims are the same in regards to divorce. That is because when you have no character, no one can live with you. Who's going to live with a man with an evil character? Who's going to live with a wife beater and a pedophile? Now you tell me. He drinks alcohol, he sniffs crack cocaine or heroin. He's a pedophile and a wife beater. Who's going to live with a man like that? He doesn't work. He's a freeloader. A freeloader is a man who lives off a woman, like a parasite. So because the Muslims who are living in Dar Harb, the society has destroyed their character, divorce has become rife among them, and this is very fortunate. And the Rasul said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I was sent for no other reason except to give you good character, good akhlaq, to perfect your morals. So now you know why divorce is rife among the Muslims. Rife means a lot. Because if you did not purify your character, if you did not cultivate a good character, nobody in the world can live. The sixth condition to be sincere to the Quran, and before I give you the sixth condition, let me remind you of the last hadith I have in my notes. A munafiq will never have two qualities: knowledge of Islam and a beautiful character. Knowledge of Islam and a beautiful character. The munafiqeen, they don't have these two traits, and Allah said, إِنَّ الْمُنْفِ دَرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. Verily the hypocrites shall be in the bottom of the hellfire. Surah Nisa 145. إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي دَرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. Verily the hypocrites will be in the bottom of the hellfire. The hypocrites will never have knowledge of the deen. They don't pay attention to the deen, and they don't pay attention to character. They are the ones who go around drinking alcohol and having sex with women, taking crack cocaine, having sex with women, drinking alcohol, gambling their life savings in casinos. That's the munafiqeen. They don't pay attention to their character, and they don't pay attention to Islamic knowledge. Why? It's not their interest. Why they don't pay attention to Islamic knowledge? It's not their interest. Their interest is dunya, 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 dunya. We have 52 nicks in the room. I'm sure if I was playing music in the room, we'll have 200 nicks. If I was playing music in the room, I'm sure we'll have 200 nicks in the room. But when there is dissemination of Quran and Sunnah, people don't gravitate towards Quran and Sunnah because the hypocrisy in their hearts have become saturated. The hypocrisy has saturated their hearts. If I was having a room where men and women come together to pick up each other, I'm sure we'll have 200 nicks. A room where people come to pick up each other, to meet each other, to pick up each other for the purpose of zina. I could easily have 200 nicks in the room. Anything to do with zina, you'll have 200 nicks. But when you have a room where Quran and Sunnah is being disseminated, people don't gravitate to such a room because they find Quran and Sunnah boring. They find zina exciting. I blame the media for that, because Hollywood makes a movie. If there is no adultery in the movie, it's boring and it doesn't sell. So I blame the media for corrupting the people. Because when Hollywood makes a movie, if there is no adultery in the movie, it doesn't sell. And the people find it boring. So whenever a person is a munafiq, they gravitate towards kufr and zan and degeneracy and debauchery. They gravitate towards degeneracy and debauchery. When a person is sincere, only then they will gravitate towards taqwa. This room should have had 200 nicks. But the people don't gravitate towards taqwa. The people gravitate towards kufr and shirk and zandaka, degeneracy and debauchery. Unfortunate. The sixth condition to be sincere to the Holy Quran, you have to believe in all of it, not some of it. The types of Muslims, those who live by the deen and those who live off the deen. There are two types of Muslims: those who live by the deen and those who live off the deen. Allah said in Baqarah 85, أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضِ. Will you believe in a part of the book and faith in another part? Will you believe in a part of the book and reject faith in another part? Whenever a person is a munafiq and they don't want to surrender to Quran, they put a spin on the Quran. Or they will say that was revealed for Bani Israel, not for us. That was revealed for Bani Israel, it's not for us. Now take a look at Baqarah 44. Allah Ta'ala said, you enjoin righteousness and you yourself fail to practice it. Yet you are a reader of the scripture. Don't you have any sense? Now, having a go at the Jews in this ayah. You enjoin righteousness upon others and you fail to practice it. Are you going to tell me that ayah is only for the Jews? So a Muslim is allowed to preach against alcohol and drink it himself and brags about drinking it. So whenever a person is a munafiq, he will always say that ayah is only for Jews, it's not for us. Beware of such people. Allah said in Baqarah, not Baqarah, Surah Ma'idah 44. Ma'idah is وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. Those who do not govern by what Allah revealed, they are al-kafirun. Are you telling me that ayah is only for Jews? Those who do not govern by what Allah revealed, they are al-kafirun. Is that what you are trying to tell me? This ayah is only for Jews? A'udhu billah. So if a Jew dismantles, he's a kafir. But if a Muslim dismantles the Sharia of Muhammad, he's not a kafir. This is a big insult to Muhammad, because you're saying the Sharia of Moses is better than the Sharia of Muhammad. For you to say this ayah is only for Jews, you are insulting Muhammad, because you're saying if you dismantle the Sharia of Moses, you're a kafir. But if you dismantle the Sharia of Muhammad, you're the kafir. So whenever a person is a munafiq, watch out for his statements. He will always say this is only for Jews, because he doesn't want to hear and obey. He wants to believe in a part of the book and reject faith in another part. You have some people in our community called the Madkhalis or the Saudi Salafis. They want to have 3 wives and sometimes 4 wives, because they said Allah told us in the Quran, marry 2, 3 or 4. فَانْكِهُ مَا تَابَ لَكُمْ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ مَثْنَى وَثَلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ. And they'll say, brother, Allah begin the verse by saying marry 2. That's how they argue. Allah begin the verse by saying marry 2. So since Allah begin the verse by saying marry 2, to have 2 wives is the norm. To have 1 wife is not the norm. It's abnormal to have 1 wife. And we know where the verse is found. The verse is Surah Nisa verse 3. Surah Nisa verse 3. فَانْكِحُوا مَا تَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ. And we know that Allah begin the verse by saying marry 2. You don't have to remind us that Allah begin the verse by saying marry 2. So their argument is that to have 2 wives is the norm. To have 1 wife is normal. You are not a real man because you only have 1 wife. So promote polygamy in their community vigorously. And in some masjids like Green Lane and Wright Street in Birmingham, where you have Salafis, sometimes a Muslim sister will marry to 4 brothers from the same masjid. She marry and divorce, marry and divorce, marry and divorce, marry and divorce. She had 4 husbands. One marry her, use her for a month, 2 months, divorce her. Then another brother marry her, use her for sex for 2, 3, 4 months. Then he divorces her. That's how they sort of Salafis. They promote polygamy viciously and vigorously, enthusiastically. Because these people who are Madkhalis, the majority of them in Birmingham were black. They are black reverts, and they used to sleep around in Jahiliyyah. So they're trying to say we can use polygamy to sleep around in Islam in a halal way. There are 2 types of Muslims: those who live by the deen and those who live off the deen. Some live by the deen, some live off the deen. So he quotes to us Nisa verse 3, Surah Nisa verse 3, where Allah said marry 2, 3 or 4. So he believes in polygamy. Then he goes to the shops of rich Muslims and harass them for zakah. So brother, I have 3 wives. Give me your zakah. Zakah is in the Quran. Polygamy is in the Quran. This same brother, a Madkhali, is not my brother. When you say what about jihad? I say no, there is no jihad. There is no jihad because we have no caliph. So this person, this Madkhali, he has 3 wives because he said it's in the Quran, and he harasses rich Muslims for zakah because he said he needs the zakah to feed his 3 wives. And zakah is in the Quran, polygamy is in the Quran. When you say what about jihad? He said no, there is no jihad. There is no jihad because we have no caliph. So this person, he doesn't believe in all of the Quran. He believes in some verses of the Quran, and he believes in some verses of the Quran. What do you mean there is no jihad without a caliph? In 1979, the Soviet Union invaded Islam. 1 year later, in 1980, Sheikh bin Baz passed a fatwa and said jihad is Fard al-Ain. Jihad is Fard al-Ain because a Muslim country is invaded by the kuffar, by the Taghut, the communists. And the Muslims are one body. When one part of the body is affected, the whole body feels the pain. 500,000 Muslim men entered into Afghanistan to fight the Soviet Union. I wish Bin Baz had passed a fatwa to liberate occupied Palestine. Bin Baz, Uthaymeen, Albani, I wish they passed fatwa to liberate occupied Palestine. I commented on occupied Palestine. I got 9 years. Years for preaching no peace with the Jews. My enemies say Shaikh Faisal is. If you want to call somebody a Khawarij, then you need to call the apostate regimes who kill Muslims and they are friendly with the Zionists and the Crusaders. They are the Khawarij. If I was a Khawarij, why the British gave me 9 years for the CD No Peace with the Jews, and the CD Declaration of War, and the CD Jihad, its aims and objectives, and the CD Them versus Us? Khawarij don't deliver these topics. Khawarij, they promote killing other Muslims. So your accusation doesn't stand up to scrutiny. You are a laughing stock. And you have the same, your aql, your brain is on the same level like that of a mosquito. You don't know who a Khawarij is, and your aql is on the same level like that of a mosquito. So this person who wants to have 3 wives, he used to sleep around in Jahiliyyah, and he claims 1 wife will make me boring. I've been sleeping around from the age of 15. That's the argument they gave me. So I cannot be in monogamy. I need to sleep around. So I need 3 wives. And Allah told me in the Quran in Surah 3 to marry 2, 3 or 4. And I want zakah because I need money to feed my wives. So I'm going to bang on the doors of rich Muslims for the zakah. They should give me the zakah because Allah mentions zakah in the Quran as well. This hypocrite, this munafiq, when you mention the word jihad, he says, no, 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 there is no jihad because we have no caliph. And you are not allowed to do jihad without a caliph. That's it. And some of them say, we have a covenant of security. Even if the kuffar rape my mother in front of me, I can't do jihad because we have a covenant of security. This argument about covenant of security, the kuffar do not acknowledge your covenant of security. The kuffar, they don't acknowledge any covenant, are killing and raping Muslim women, killing the men and raping the women. The scholars in prison for many, many years. So that covenant you are preaching, the kuffar don't acknowledge it. You are promoting the covenant of security because you have the disease of wahan in your heart. And you have become the scum, the froth, which is on the surface of the earth after a flood. That's what you have become. That's why you are preaching the covenant of security. And if I ask you which Amir signs the covenant, you can't tell me. Which Muslim leader signs the covenant that you are preaching? Which Amir signs the covenant, you can't tell me. Now, you say there is no without a caliph. I'm saying to you, Sheikh Bin Baz of Saudi Arabia, when Afghanistan was invaded, he passed a fatwa and said jihad is Fardul Ain. In 1980, the fatwa came out a year after the invasion. But in 1980, when Sheikh Bin Baz passed the fatwa, we didn't have a caliph back then. And even though we had no caliph in 1980, 500,000 Muslim men and boys picked up weapons and went into Afghanistan to fight the Soviet Union and heed the call of Sheikh Bin Baz. So, why do you preach that there is no jihad without a caliph when Sheikh Bin Baz passed in 1980 to fight the Soviet Union? And in 1980 we had no caliph. And I wish Sheikh Bin Baz had passed a fatwa to occupy Palestine because it's the 3rd holy mosque. I wish he had passed a fatwa to liberate Palestine because it's the 3rd holy mosque and it's the first qibla in Islam. The first qibla. And that is where the Prophet Muhammad prayed with the other prophets at Bayt al-Maqdis. On his journey, Al-Isra wal-Miraj, where Allah said, Subhanalladhi asra bi'abdihi laylan min al-Masr al-Haram ila al-Masr al-Aqsa alladhi barakna hawlahu. Surah 17, the first ayah. Subhanalladhi asra bi'abdihi laylan من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا, to show him our wonderful and marvelous signs. Glorified is he who is a servant by night. from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa, whose precincts we have blessed, Barakna hawlahu, in order to show him our wonderful and marvelous sign. I wish Shaykh bin Baz had passed a fatwa to liberate Masjid al-Aqsa, the way he passed a fatwa to liberate Afghanistan from the Soviet Union. Now, the reason why bin Baz passed a fatwa to liberate Afghanistan is because America gave the fatwa its blessings. America gave the fatwa its blessings because America wanted to see the destruction of the Soviet Union. But America did not give the fatwa to liberate Palestine its blessings. So Shaykh bin Baz, America gave him the green light to go ahead and pass the fatwa. That is the reality. Shaykh bin Baz is not allowed to pass a fatwa unless America gave him the green light to pass a fatwa. America gave him the green light to pass a fatwa that jihad in Afghanistan is Fard al-Ain. But America did not give him the green light to pass a fatwa that jihad to liberate Palestine is Fard al-Ain. That jihad is Fard al-Ain, to liberate Palestine. But that fatwa wasn't passed. So it is unfortunate that our scholars are in the pockets of their government. Their governments are in the pockets, America is in the pocket of Israel, and Israel is in the pocket of the Shaitan. It's very, very unfortunate. The Holy Land occupied Palestine. No fatwa was passed to liberate that, but fatwa was passed to liberate Afghanistan. Sometimes I wonder, how can these people call themselves? What kind of a sheikh are you? You ignore occupied Palestine, even though it is the third holy city in Islam. Anyway, we continue the dars. So, to be sincere to the Quran, you need to believe in all of it. Don't believes in polygamy and wants to have 3 wives, and they only propose to pretty girls. They only propose to pretty girls. He wants to do polygamy and he wants to collect zakah, but he doesn't want to do jihad. And he calls the Mujahideen Khawarij and terrorists. Why did the Mujahideen in Yemen, in Dimaj, went to help the Markhalis? If you see the Shiites killing a Markhali, you should turn a blind eye. Don't help any one of them. Zindiq killing Zindiq. How can you get involved? Are you crazy? You see a Shiites are fighting the Markhalis in Yemen, in Dimaj, and you go to help? If Zindiqs are killing Zindiqs, why do you want to get involved? Sometimes the Mujahideen don't do the right ijtihad. Zindiq killing Zindiq, Allah is using Zindiq to get rid of Zindiq. And you belong to Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. You are helping the Salafis. They believe the Mujahideen are terrorists, Khawarij, and they believe the greatest jihad is to kill the Mujahideen. So how can you help people like that? How can you help people who call you the dog of Jahannam? That's what they think about you. You are the dog of Jahannam. How can you help them? Because the Shiites are killing them. It doesn't make sense to me. This jihad is to kill the Mujahideen. If the Shiites are killing the Markhalis, the Salafis, you need to turn a blind eye. You need to turn a blind eye. The Mujahideen are up on the way of the Shaitan. A'udhu billah. When you see Kafirs killing Kafirs, turn a blind eye. Don't get involved. It is insanity to get involved. Anyway, we continue with our dars, how to be sincere to the Holy Quran. Number 6, to implement all of it, not some of it. We say to the Markhali, Allah said in Baqarah 216, Kutiba alaykum al-qital, fighting is prescribed for you. So you quote to us Surah Nisa verse 3 and said, I have 3 wives because Allah tell me I can have 4 wives in Surah Nisa verse 3. But Allah also said in Baqarah 216, Kutiba alaykum al-qital, fighting is prescribed for you. And Allah used the word Kutiba, which means it is known of Islam by necessity. Whenever Allah uses the word Kutiba, prescribed, that thing is known of Islam by necessity. Number 7, to implement it on the state level. So not only should you implement the Quran on the individual level, you need to implement it on the state level. Do not become a secularist who believes the Quran is only for the individual. Individual thing. I beg your pardon? Is that what you think? Religion is just an individual thing. Keep your religion in the four corners of the masjid. Don't take it in the Ministry of Education. If we want to teach Darwinism, leave us alone to teach Darwinism. By the way, Western education is haram. I repeat, Western education is haram. Dentistry is not Western education. That is called international education. Medicine is not Western education. That is international education. Mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, petroleum engineering, electrical engineering, that is not Western education. That is called international education. Western education is when you believe in Darwinism. Darwinism. Western education is when you believe, when you teach that to be gay is normal. To be a lesbian is normal, to be a gay is normal. That's called Western education. Western education is to believe in Trinity. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. That's Western education. And Western education is haram. And no one can deny that Western education is haram. Western education is to believe in democracy. They preach democracy in Western education, in the school system. Western education is haram, and if you don't believe Western education is haram, you yourself become a kafir. Because it means you believe in democracy, you believe in Darwinism, you believe in gay relationships. You have no choice, you have to believe that Western education is haram, but you need to make a difference between Western education and international education. The Muslims who live in the West, many of them have become low-life scums of the earth. Do you know why? Because they went through the Western education system. Western education was designed to turn you into a low-life scum of the earth and a human devil. So those who went through the Western education system, look at Salman Rushdie. He went through their system. Look what he became. Now, Western education means it's my business. If I want to drink alcohol, if I want to sleep around, it's my business. Stay out of my life, it's my life. That is Western education. It was designed to turn you into a low-life scum of the earth. That's why many Muslims who live in the West have become hypocrites. Low-life scums of the earth. Because they went through the Western education system. Western education is haram because the syllabus is satanic. The syllabus is satanic. The seventh condition to be sincere to the Quran, you need to implement it on the state level. Therefore, do not marginalize the Quran to the individual level. It has to be implemented on the state level. Therefore, Sharia has to govern the land. Allah said, وَقَاتِلُهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُنْ فِتْنَةً وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ كُلُّهُ لِلَّهِ. Fight them till there is no more fitna, until Allah alone is worshipped in the land. Fitna means shirk. Fight them till there is no more fitna. Fight them till there is no more shirk. All the scholars of Islam say fitna means shirk. Surah Anfal, verse 39. وَقَاتِلُهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُنْ فِتْنَةً. So when you go to a masjid and you hear the Imam speaking about alcohol, the problem of alcohol in the society, and he says in the khutbah, Allah curses 10 people, the one who makes the wine and the one who sells it, the one who drinks it, the one who transports it, the one who witnessed the transaction, and so on and so forth. And you leave the khutbah and you say, what a wonderful khutbah. It's not a wonderful khutbah because the Imam did not tell you in the khutbah, you need to implement Sharia in the land to get rid of the alcohol problem. The khutbah is lopsided and it is incomplete. It's not comprehensive. Because he did not tell you in the khutbah, we need to implement Sharia in the land to get rid of the alcohol pandemic. Not until he says that, the khutbah wasn't a wonderful khutbah. So the Quran has to be implemented on the state level. We have the Islamic State. And there are 3 Dars in the world: Darul Kufr, Darul Harb, and Darul Islam. And the rules and regulations that govern each Dar is different from the other Dar. There are 3 Dars: Darul Kufr, Darul Harb, and Darul Islam. Darul Harb is a land where they are killing Muslims or locking up innocent Muslims. Darul Kufr is a Kafir country, but they are not oppressing the Muslims. They leave you alone to practice your religion. They don't lock you up. Like Brazil, Venezuela, Jamaica. They don't lock you up. And Darul Islam, Darul Harb is where the Muslims are being killed and locked up. Killed or locked up. Innocent Muslims are locked up. Darul Islam is where Sharia is implemented and the 6 sacred things of the Muslims are safeguarded. To prove to you that the Quran has to be implemented on the state level, Surah 22 verse 41. Allah spoke about the people who He gave power in the land. Surah 22 verse 41. الذين إن مكناهم في الأرض أقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأمروا بالمعروف ونهوا عن المنكر ولله عاقبة الأمور. Those Muslim rulers who, if we give them power in the land, they enjoin the right, they enjoin Salah, they establish Salah, the 5 daily prayers, and they establish Zakah. They enjoin the right and they forbid the wrong. Meaning they implement the Sharia. They make the Quran as the law of their country in all the spheres of life. And with Allah rests the end of all matters. This is the hujjah that to be sincere to the Quran you need to implement it on the state level. Surah 22 verse 41. Allah said, those Muslim rulers, when we give them tamkeen, power and authority in the land, they establish Salah and Zakah, they enjoin the right and forbid the wrong, and they make the Holy Quran the law of their country in all aspects of life. So to keep the Quran on the individual level, that's not good enough. It has to be on the state level. Don't be a secularist who believes the Quran should only be implemented on the individual level. If you're a secularist, then your creed contradicts Surah 22 verse 41. The 8th condition, when you read the Quran, you need to pronounce the words properly. It is haram to pray behind a person who can't recite Surah Fatiha properly. Because the Prophet said there is no Salah for the one who didn't read Surah Fatiha properly. When you recite Surah Fatiha, what do you say? Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. With the shadda. If you say Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in with the shadda, you say I worship the sunlight. You have to pronounce the shadda. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. You are not allowed to pray Salah behind a person who can't recite Surah Fatiha properly. This is why the scholar of Islam Ibn Sirin was correct when he says a woman can lead a man in Salah. Because if a Muslim woman has a husband who's a revert and he doesn't know Surah Fatiha, how can he lead her in Salah? So the scholar Ibn Sirin, who said a woman can lead a Salah, he's correct. Can lead a man in Salah. I learned that in my university. I learned things in my university that are shocking. This might be one of them. So since Surah Fatiha is a condition for the Salah to be valid, if a sister can recite it but her husband can't, how can he lead the Salah? So Ibn Sirin, who said a woman can lead a man in Salah, he is correct. This mas'ala was debated among the scholars. Ibn Sirin, when he passed the fatwa, nobody said he was a deviant. Ibn Sirin was a deviant. Nobody said that. They accepted, they kept quiet about his fatwa. The 9th condition, you need to learn the proper tafsir from a sincere scholar. The ninth condition to be sincere to the Quran, you need to learn the proper tafsir from a sincere scholar and shun the wicked scholars. You are not allowed to go to the gatherings of the hypocrites who put a spin on the Quran. You need to learn the tafsir of the Quran from a sincere scholar. If a person has dodgy Aqidah and you expose him, you do not backbite him. All you did was to enjoin the right and forbid the wrong. Allah told you in Surah 9, Surah Tawbah 119, or you believe, fear Allah and be in the company of the real Muslims, the sincere Muslims. Not the fake Muslims, the real Muslims. Surah Tawbah 119. Therefore, whenever you want to learn the Quran, you have to shun the gatherings of the hypocrites. Do not listen to the tafsir of the Shiites. Allah said in the Quran, Allah commanded you to sacrifice a cow. Baqarah 67. The Shiites in their tafsir said the cow is Aisha. You should kill Aisha. Sacrifice a cow means to kill Aisha because she fought Ali at the Battle of the Camel. How can you go to the Shiites to learn your tafsir? They put a spin on every ayah. If you gravitate towards the tafsir of the hypocrites, something is wrong with you. If you were sincere, you would have gone to the tafsir of Ibn Kathir to read. Why do you read the tafsir of Shiites? Only a munafiq gravitate towards the tafsirs of the hypocrites, the tafsirs of the Zanadika, the Zindiq. Why don't you go and read Tafsir Qurtubi, Tafsir Shawkani, Tafsir Ibn Kathir, Tafsir Shinqaiti, Adwa al-Bayan? These are proper tafsirs. Why do you go and read the tafsirs of the Shiites or the tafsirs of the Qadiani? Don't you know they tamper with the Quran and they take away the full stop? Surah Al-Imran verse 7. Allah said nobody knows the meaning of the allegorical verses except Allah. Full stop. The Shiites, they took away the full stop. Surah 3 verse 7. They said nobody knows the meaning of these allegorical verses except Allah and those who are firmly grounded in knowledge. They took away the full stop to include those who are firmly grounded in knowledge, to say our Imams, they know the meaning of Alif Lam Mim, the allegorical verses. Whenever you want to know if a person is a munafiq, ask him who he listens to. If he tells you he listens to Shaykh Nazim al-Haqqani, the Sufi of Cyprus, Shaykh Nazim al-Haqqani of Cyprus, then you know that this person is a Zindiq who listens to a Zindiq. If he tells you he listens to Suhaib al-Hassan, when the son of Suhaib al-Hassan was preaching Darwinism in the masjid, the father took side with the son and said, Darwinism, to believe that men evolved from monkey, it is an opinion. How can you justify Darwinism? But what else do you expect from a Madkhali? A mad Madkhali. We call them the mad Madkhali because of their hypocrisy. How can you justify Darwinism? How can you preach Darwinism in the masjid and seek to justify it, claiming to believe men came from monkey is an opinion? You should be ashamed of yourself. They have gone so deep in their kufr, they preach Darwinism in their masjids. Anybody who believes in Darwinism has left the fold of Islam. Darwinism, communism, democracy, capitalism, tribalism, nationalism, all the man-made isms and schisms. Once you believe in them, you're a kafir outside the fold of Islam because you did not reject the Tawhut. And Tawhut means false deities and false ideologies. Tawhut is false deities and false ideologies. Once you believe in the Tawhut, you left the fold of Islam. When I released the CD, The Devil's Deception of the Saudi Salafis, many people thought I was too harsh. These same people rang me up to thank me for exposing these people when they realized they preach Darwinism in their masjid. How comes only now you know how evil these people are? Didn't I tell you 10 years ago these people are up to no good. They are not for real. 10 years ago, I did the CD, The Devil's Deception of the Saudi Salafists. Why it took you only now to know how evil these people are? You only realize now because Allah did not bless you with insight and foresight. Firasa. If you have no firasa, you see a shaitan, you think the shaitan is an angel. You have no furqan and no firasa. The reason why I told you 10 years ago these people are up to no good is because they went against the ijma of the Muslims and preached to dismantle the Sharia is a minor kufr, when Ibn Kathir and Ibn Taymiyyah said it's major kufr. Darwinism is a new phenomena in their community. Preaching Darwinism in the masjid, that's a new phenomena in their community. That's not the reason why I had problems with them. I had problems with them because of Allah's hakimiyah. They want to say to dismantle the Sharia is a minor kufr. This means Allah was overreacting when Allah turned the Jews into apes and swine. Surah Ma'idah verse 60. Allah turned the Jews into apes and swine when they dismantled the Sharia. This means you are insinuating Allah was overreacting. That's what you are insinuating. Because He turned the Jews into apes and swine for something which is minor. Number 10, you need to give it the proper tafsir. So not only are you supposed to go to the gatherings of those who give it the proper tafsir, you have to go to the gatherings of the sincere scholars. If you are a scholar, you have to give it the proper tafsir as well. That's the 10th condition. If you are a scholar, you have to give the Quran the proper tafsir. Don't tamper with the Quran to cement the thrones of the apostate leaders. The 10th condition, if you are a scholar, you must give the correct tafsir of the Quran, yes. If you are a student of knowledge, you have to find a sincere scholar to learn the proper tafsir. That is if you are a student of knowledge. But if you are a scholar, you have to give the Quran the proper tafsir. You are not allowed to be a wicked scholar. You are not allowed to put a spin on the Quran to cement the thrones of the apostate regimes. Because Ibn Taymiyyah said whenever a scholar leaves off his knowledge and follows a hakim that goes against Quran and Sunnah, the scholar becomes a kafir and an apostate who deserves to be punished in this life and the next life. Ibn Taymiyyah's Fatawa, volume 35, page 373, bring me the fatwa. And many of you do not know Ibn Taymiyyah made takfir on the wicked scholars. I think it was this fatwa of Ibn Taymiyyah that caused the Salafi to run away in the middle of a debate he had with me about a week ago. If you run away from this one fatwa that I brought you in the debate, what would you have done if I brought you Ibn Baz, Uthaymeen and Albani's fatwas? Because the debate isn't finished. The person ran away. The person has to come back to finish the debate. We have more things to discuss. Because you say Tawhid Hakimiyya is a bid'ah. We need to discuss it. And we need to record the debate as well. For the Ummah to hear who is speaking the truth and who is telling the lie. I only brought you the fatwa of Ibn Taymiyyah about the wicked scholars who support the regimes, who dismantle the Sharia, and you run away in the debate. So what if I brought you other fatwas of other scholars? Because I never bring you everything I want to bring you. I have a file of fatwas to bring. You have to come back and finish the debate. The debate isn't finished. The next condition to be sincere to Allah, to be sincere to the Quran, is to believe that the Quran abrogates the previous Sharias. And before I give you the 11th condition, and please bring me the hadith. Anyone who explains the Quran with his own opinion, let him take his seat in hellfire. Man qala fil Quran bi ra'yihi falyatabawwa maq'adahu min an-nar. Anyone who explains the Quran with his own opinion, let him take his seat in hellfire. This hadith is Hasan. Hadith classified as Hasan. Man qala fil Quran bi ra'yihi falyatabawwa maq'adahu min an-nar. Anybody who explains the Quran with his own opinion, let him take his seat in hellfire. You need to believe the Quran abrogates the previous books. Don't tell me that a Muslim girl can marry a Kafir man because Musa, the wife of the Pharaoh, Asiya, she was a Muslim and her husband was a Kafir. The Pharaoh was a Kafir and he had a Muslim wife. Now many people are shocked. The worst Kafir in the world had a Muslim wife. The Pharaoh, the worst Kafir, had a Muslim wife. Well, that's how it is. Allahu Alam why it happened that way, but that's how it is. The worst Kafir had a Muslim wife, Asiya. Don't bring me that as a hujjah. Because Allah said in the Sharia of Muhammad, Muslim girls cannot live with Kafir men, they are not lawful for them. Kafir men are not lawful for Muslim girls. Surah 60 verse 10. That is the ayah, Surah 60 verse 10. So don't bring me the story of Asiya and the Pharaoh, that Asiya was a Muslim. That is the Sharia of Moses. Don't bring me that Sharia, I don't want to hear that. To be sincere to the Quran, you have to believe that the Sharia of the Quran abrogates all the previous Sharia. In the Sharia of Jesus, you could drink alcohol. Some Sahabas died drinking alcohol, like Hamza, because he died before the verse came down telling them that alcohol is haram. In the Sharia of Jesus, you could drink alcohol and you could make sajda to people out of respect. You could bow to people out of respect. In our Sharia, you can't bow to people out of respect. Because the Prophet said, if it were halal for a human being to bow down to another, I would have commanded the women to bow down to their husbands. If it were halal for a human being to bow down to another, I would have commanded the women to bow down to their husbands. So don't bring me a Sharia which has been abrogated. Don't tell me I can't eat certain things from the sea, like the prawn, the shrimp. Don't tell me some fishes in the sea are haram. Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear that. That's the Sharia of Moses. The Prophet said, Fil Bahr huwa tuhur ma'uhu al-hil maytatu. Everything in the sea is halal to eat, and the water is halal to make wudu with. Bring me the hadith. Everything in the sea is halal to eat, and the sea water is halal to make wudu with. So don't tell me some fishes in the sea are haram to eat. Everything in the sea is halal to eat. That's Hanbali fiqh. Fil Bahr huwa tuhur ma'uhu al-hil maytatu. In the Sharia of Moses, some things were haram to eat from the sea, not our Sharia. The Sharia of Muhammad says different. Abu Hurairah reported that a man asked the Prophet, we travel in the sea and we carry with us little water. If we use it for wudu, then we would be suffering thirst. So should we still use this water for wudu? The Prophet replied, the sea water is pure, and its dead meat, the fish and whatever lives in the sea and die by leaving it, is halal to eat. Fil Bahr huwa tuhur ma'uhu al-hil maytatu. The Prophet told us that the sea water is halal to make wudu with, and every living thing in the sea is halal to eat. And if the animal leaves the sea and died after leaving the sea, you can eat the animal. So don't tell me some things in the sea are haram to eat. That is not my fiqh. It's not my Sharia. That's the Sharia of Moses. According to the Sharia of Muhammad, every living thing in the sea is halal to eat. We continue with our topic, how to be sincere to the Holy Quran. Number 11, the Quran abrogates the previous Sharia. Number 12, we must read the Quran at least once in our lifetime. That is the 12th condition, to read the Quran at least once in your lifetime. Number 13, we must read the Quran once in our lifetime. I'm talking the entire Quran from cover to cover. Number 13, you must keep quiet when the Quran is recited. Sometimes you play a CD, a Quranic CD, and you have a conversation in the background. That is haram. It's haram to play a Quranic CD while you are speaking. The Quran is in the background playing, and you are speaking. Allah said, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنِ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنْصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Surah 7:204. وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنِ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنْصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. When the Quran is recited, listen to it and be quiet that you may obtain Allah's mercy. You can't play the Quran in the background when a conversation is taking place. This is haram. Also, you are not allowed to have the Quran as a ringtone for your cell phone, your mobile phone. To have the Quran as a ringtone is haram. You can have the adhan as an alarm to wake you up for Fajr. That's how I wake up for Fajr. I have the alarm as my ringtone for Fajr. As my alarm tone, the adhan, that is permissible. But to have the Quran as a ringtone, that is haram. Because when the Quran is being played, the people have to stop their conversation and listen to the Quran. You are making it hard upon them to stop what they are discussing and listen to the Quran. That's why it is haram to have the Quran as a ringtone. Why it is haram? Because you are making it hard on the people to stop their conversation and listen to the Quran. And no scholar can tell you otherwise. To have the Quran as a ringtone for your mobile phone is haram, and no scholar can tell you anything otherwise. Number 14, you need to follow the manhaj of the Quran. You need to follow the Quranic manhaj. To be sincere to the Quran, you have to follow the manhaj. What is the manhaj? The manhaj is to call for Tawheed in Dar al-Harb and to call for Sharia in Dar al-Islam. That is the manhaj. I repeat, the manhaj of the Quran. To call for Tawheed in Dar al-Harb and to call for Sharia in Dar al-Islam. That is the manhaj of the Holy Quran. The surahs of the Quran are two types, Makki and Madani. Those that were revealed in Makkah are called Makki. Those that were revealed in Medina are called Madani. A surah is either Makki or Madani. The Makki surahs, they focus on the Tawheed, like Qul Huwallahu Ahad. And the surahs of Medina, which is called Madani, they focus on the Sharia. That is the manhaj of the Quran. To be sincere to the Quran, you have to follow the manhaj. And because of that, when the Prophet sent Mu'adh bin Jabal to Yemen, he said, you are going to come across Jews and Christians, the people of the book. The first thing you should invite them to is the Tawheed of Allah, La ilaha illallah. That should be the first thing you invite the people to when you go to Yemen, because they are Jews and Christians. When you go there, don't tell them it is haram to drink alcohol and it is haram to eat pork. And it is haram to do sex before marriage. Don't tell them that. When you go to Yemen, the first thing you should tell the people is La ilaha illallah. Nothing deserves to be worshipped but Allah. That is our manhaj. Our manhaj is the Quranic manhaj. To be sincere to the Quran, you need to follow the manhaj. These are the 14 conditions to be sincere to the Quran. Yesterday I gave you 14 conditions to be sincere to Allah, and today I give you 14 conditions to be sincere to the Holy Quran. I will now pause and take questions from the floor. I'm taking 5 questions. Bismillah, I want to devote my life to the study in general, but all my friends disturb me by wanting to spend time with me. How to get rid of them? How to get rid of the others who disturb you when you want to study, work and to study. You need to leave your environment and go and study your deen at an institution in which you spend 16 hours a day memorizing Quran and Sunnah. That is the way forward. You need to leave your friends behind, go to a new country, a new land, where knowledge is being disseminated, and learn your deen. But to be in the West, in Dar Harb, where you are seeing the same faces every day, mixing with the same people every day, doing the same routine every day, it might not be an effective way to seek knowledge. Pack your bags and go. Go to a land where you can learn your deen. If the Saudis tell you you're too old to come to our university, then go try Egypt. If the Saudis tell you you're too old to be enrolled in our university, try Egypt. I don't think they have the rigid ageism that they have in Saudi Arabia. I touched down in Saudi Arabia age 20-21 to study the deen. If I was old, they would never accept my application. A woman is allowed to lead a man in Salah. Do you mean only her husband, or there are other men she can lead? Ibn Sirin said a woman is allowed to lead a man in prayer if the men who are around cannot recite Surah Fatiha and she knows Surah Fatiha. You can expound on this fatwa of Ibn Sirin. If you want, I can do further research in regards to this matter. Ibn Sirin, that's his madhab, a woman can lead a man in prayer if the men don't know Surah Fatiha. Because Surah Fatiha is compulsory to be recited properly. Without Surah Fatiha, your salah is batil, batil, batil. This is what I learned in university, Muhammad ibn Saud. I learned things in university that are quite shocking, and this is one of them. Sheikh, in a previous dars, you said the maqam of Siddiq was exclusive to Abu Bakr, but Allah says Surah Nisa, Siddiqeen, which is plural. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Maryam bint Imran is a Siddiqa in Surah Ma'idah, verse 75. Am I right to say that the maqam of the Siddiq was not exclusive to Abu Bakr, and it is higher than the maqam of the Shaheed, as I've said many ulama? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was called as-Siddiq, and he was the only Sahaba who was given the title. That's what I meant. I think you misunderstood. He was the only Sahaba who was given the title, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. But that doesn't mean that Omar is not Siddiq and Ali and Uthman was not Siddiq. It's just that the title as-Siddiq was given to Abu Bakr. But there are many Siddiqeen. Allah spoke about as-Siddiqeen wa Shuhada. Concerning the Siddiq, what you have to understand is that the Shaheed is also Siddiq. He has the quality of being a Siddiq, somebody who is sincere to his faith. Because if the Shaheed was not of the Siddiq, why did he abandon his wife and children to die on the battlefield for the sake of Allah? So every Shaheed is a Siddiq, but not every Siddiq is a Shaheed. There is no one who can be above the Shaheed in regards to respect and honor, because his soul is kept in the bodies of green birds flying around in paradise, and these green birds have their nest on chandeliers, and these chandeliers are hanging from the throne of Allah. No one else was given that respect except the Shaheed. And the Shaheed is forgiven of all his sins except that money which he owes. The ayah that the questioner is talking about is Surah Nisa, verse 69. وَمَنْ يُطِعْ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ وَالشُّهَدَاءِ وَالصَّالِحِينَ وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا. And whosoever obeys Allah and the Messenger, then they will be in the company of those on whom Allah has bestowed His grace, of the Prophets, the Siddiqeen, those followers of the Prophets, who were first and foremost to believe in them, like Abu Bakr Siddiq, the martyrs and the righteous, and how excellent these companions are. Surah Nisa, verse 69. Shaykh, is it a bid'ah for one who wishes to make a dua after finishing the salah to raise his hands Whenever you raise your hands in a dua, those who say you can raise your hands when making a dua, they use the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ at the Battle of Badr. Before the battle started, he prayed, he cried to Allah and begged Allah for victory, and said, if you allow the Muslims to be defeated, nobody will be left on earth to worship you. And Allah answered his dua and sent 1,000 angels to fight alongside the Prophet at the Battle of Badr. Those who say you're allowed to raise your hands in dua, they said the Prophet raised his hands at the Battle of Badr. That is their hujjah. When he was crying to Allah and begging Allah for victory, he raised his hands. To raise your hands in a dua is not an issue, even though the scholars differ about it. So to raise your hands when you're making a dua is not an issue. The madkhalis, they make a big issue about it. They say bid'ah, bid'ah. They scream and shout bid'ah, bid'ah. You're not allowed to raise your hands when you're making a dua. It's like the dhikr beads that people use to do dhikr. They say bid'ah, bid'ah. They make a big issue about it. What is big, they make it small. What is small, they make it big. They make a big issue about small issues that are not important. We say they are not important because they can't nullify your shahada. If you raise your hands in a dua or you didn't raise your hands, that can't nullify your shahada. But if you take sides with the Tawhut against the Mujahideen and call them terrorists and spy for the Tawhut, that nullifies your shahada. So the Salafis, what is major, they make it minor, and what is minor, they make it major. If a man walks around with beads and recites Subhanallah, Walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar with his dhikr beads, that cannot make him a kafir because of his dhikr beads. But when you spy for the FBI, the MI5, the CIA, claiming the greatest jihad is to catch the Mujahideen and hand them over to the Tawhut, that makes you a kafir. So the Salafis, their situation is pitiful, appalling, and pathetic. Because they are paying attention to small issues that cannot nullify your shahada. It doesn't make you a kafir. Yet they dabble in things that nullify their shahada, as if to say, they have never heard that when you spy for kuffar and help them against Muslims, it makes you become a kafir. They dabble in apostasy, as if to say, they have never heard about Ma'idah 51. Raising your hands when making a dua is not an issue. However, the scholars say when you are asking for a big thing, you raise your hands high, and when you are asking for a small thing, you raise your hand low. You keep your hand low to your shoulder. Listen to what the scholars say. If you're asking for a big thing, like the Prophet was asking for a big thing at Badr, victory against the kuffar, then you raise your hands high in the sky. If you're asking for something small, then you raise your hand to the level of your shoulder. That is the compromise between the opinions about raising your hands when you are asking Allah for something. To make a dua after every single salah is a bid'ah. To make a dua after every salah is a bid'ah. When I was on tour of Africa, I was in Cape Town, South Africa, and they made me the Imam of the masjid for 2 weeks, to lead the people in prayer and to deliver speeches for them after every single Maghrib and after Fajr Salah. And it's the first time I've seen in my life women coming for Fajr at the masjid, but they came with their husbands or their brothers. Sometimes I would not make a dua after the Salah, and all hell broke loose in the masjid. Sometimes I would make a dua after Salah, sometimes I would leave it off. In Cape Town, South Africa, when I leave off the dua after the Salah, all hell broke loose in the masjid. They said, Shaikh Faisal, we have a tradition here in South Africa for 350 years. And we are not prepared to budge. What's the tradition? Our Imams, they make dua after every single Salah. After every Salah, our Imams make a dua. You come from Jamaica and you want to change our tradition that has been embedded in us for 350 years. You can't do that. You have to make dua after every Salah. I said, I wasn't educated like that. Actually, where I was educated, the Imams don't make dua after Salah. Now, you have satellite TV in your homes. Have you ever seen an Imam who led the prayers in Mecca and Medina? Have you ever seen them make a dua after a Salah? You have satellite TV in your homes and you saw the Imams praying in Mecca and Medina. Have you ever seen an Imam in Mecca and Medina make a dua after Salah? Impossible. So where I was educated, we don't make dua after Salah. We don't do that. Because there is no hadith, the Prophet did that. And to shake the hands of the person who prayed beside you after every Salah is a bid'ah. Subhanallah. When you go to some masjids, and especially the Sufi masjids, when they pray, they shake the hands of the man who prayed beside them. That is a bid'ah. And they think if they don't shake the hand of their brother who prayed beside them, the Salah isn't complete. And they make dua after every single Salah. The masjid where they made me the Imam, the resident Imam was a Sufi. The resident Imam was Indian and he was a Sufi. The only reason why they appointed me to be the Imam is out of respect. Because I came all the way from Jamaica. Out of respect. But we have different aqa'id. Our beliefs are different. So he said you have to make dua after every Salah because you are confusing the people. We arrived in Cape Town, South Africa from Indonesia. The people, the majority of them, they came from Indonesia. And they came from Indonesia to South Africa by the Dutch. The Dutch took them there and they arrived as Sufis. They came 350 years ago and their tradition is that they pray, they make dua after every Salah. And the Indians who live in Cape Town, they have the same tradition. So for you to come all the way from Jamaica to change our tradition is not acceptable. And it was all hell break loose in the masjid. They said it's the first we have seen an Imam who led the prayer and did not make dua after the Salah. For you to make a statement like that, that means you have never been to Mecca and Medina. For you to say, you are the first Imam we prayed behind and you did not make a dua after the Salah. That means you have never been for Umrah. You have never been for Hajj and Umrah. You have never been to Mecca and Medina. Or for you to say, you are the first Imam that we see wiping over his cotton socks and his woolen socks. You have never seen an Imam who made wudu and wipe over his woolen socks and cotton socks. That is Hanbali fiqh. We wipe over our woolen socks and cotton socks. The Hanafis, they take off their socks. They don't wipe over their socks. Hanafis only wipe over leather socks. We wipe over woolen socks and cotton socks. So to avoid the fitna, the Hanbali Imam will have to take off his socks and wash his feet just to avoid fitna. But in my heart, that's not what I want to do. I want to wipe over my socks. The only reason why I took off my socks is to stop the fitna. Because if I don't take off my socks and wash my feet like the Hanafis do, the 3,000 people who came to Jummah will not pray behind me. So to avert fitna, I take off my socks and wash my feet. But that's not what I want to do. I want to practice my madhab. What is my madhab? To wipe over my cotton socks and woolen socks. That's my madhab, the Hanbali madhab. I only follow the Hanafi madhab and wash my feet to avert fitna. I was using hikmah when I was in South Africa. When I was in South Africa, I was using hikmah to avert a fitna. Yes, to pray, to make a dua after every salah is bid'ah. Because you are misleading the people for them to think the dua is part of the salah. Making a dua after every salah is a bid'ah. Because you misled the people, you have them thinking to make dua after salah is fard And the dua is a part of the salah. And this is why when I was in South Africa and the people saw me pray and didn't make a dua, they were shocked. They thought the salah wasn't completed because Shaikh Faisal didn't make a dua after the salah. You have misled the people. To have them thinking the dua is an integral part of the salah. Shaykh, I know one of the best times for dua to be accepted is in sajda, but is it better to do this in each sajda? It's not a bid'ah to do a dua in each sajda. You can ask for 4 different things in 4 different sajda. It's not a bid'ah. That was the last question. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.